Newell suggested that movements arise from the interactions of organisms, the environment in which the movement occurs, and the task undertaken. Constraints can either discourage or limit certain movements, or encourage or permit other movements. Constraints shape movement. Constraints are important to motor development because it reflects the dynamics constantly changing interactions in motor development. Individuals with disabilities will have several differences in structural, functional, and individual constraints. For individuals with disabilities, all interacting constraints must be considered and will also result in delayed, different motor development. It's important to better understand these constraints in order to provide a better experience for children affected. An individual constraint is the unique physical or mental characteristic of an individual. There are two classifications, structural and functional constraints. A structural constraint is related to the body structure, height, and muscle mass of the individual. An individual's body either permits or restricts a certain movement. A structural constraint that a child with a prosthetic leg will face is the inability to properly walk due to uneven body mass distribution. Practice with a new body mass distribution using a balance beam to assist the development of better balance. A functional constraint is related to behavioral function of the individual, for example, attention and motivation of the individual. A functional constraint that a child with a prosthetic leg will face is the lack of motivation due to the difficulty of relearning how to walk. Encourage the child to continue practicing in order to get better and become more skilled.
It's okay. It's okay.
A task constraint is a specific task requirement or goal related specifically to a task or skill. The task constraint is external and not related to the individual and can be manipulated. Examples include goal of the task, rules guiding task performance, and the equipment. A task constraint experienced by a child with a prosthetic is the change in equipment to practice walking. Change the type of equipment used by the child to better develop their ability to walk. An environmental constraint involves the properties of the environment. They are external and not task-specific. There are two classifications of environmental constraints, physical and sociocultural. A physical constraint involves the physical environment surrounding the individual. Examples include gravity, surfaces, temperature, and light. A physical constraint that a child with a prosthetic leg will experience is different types of surfaces the child has to practice walking on. Practice walking on different types of surfaces to better develop the child's ability to walk.
Definitely.
A sociocultural constraint involves the sociocultural environment surrounding the individual. Examples include gender roles and cultural norms. A sociocultural constraint that a child with a prosthetic leg will experience is the gender roles of having a prosthetic leg. Traditionally, girls care more about how they look than boys.